Hello students, welcome to our online platform. Myself Engineer PP sir, your physics mentor. Students, today we are going to talk about our next topic, which is reflection of light. So we are going to start optics, in which we will talk about reflection, diffraction, different optical instruments, interference and diffraction of light. So let us start with our first topic, which is reflection of light. Reflection of light. So whenever we talk about reflection of light, then reflection means bouncing back of light. Bouncing back of light. So when a ray of light after incidenting on a boundary separating two media comes back into the same medium, then this type of phenomena is known as reflection of light. So keep in mind, whenever we talk about reflection of light, then we require only one medium. One medium. It means light travels from one medium on a boundary and bounce back in the same medium. So this phenomena is known as reflection. So you can clearly see from this figure that this is the incident ray, this is bouncing back in the same medium. So this is the reflected ray, this is the incident ray, and this is that boundary which is separating two mediums. So light is incidenting here. Here see, this is the normal to the surface. So here we define angle of incidence. So angle of incidence is angle made by incident ray with the normal. And this angle is known as angle of reflection, which is made by reflected ray with the normal. So this is the simple concept. So here see, if we talk about laws of reflection, then angle I is always equal to angle R. This angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. After reflection, velocity, wavelength and frequency of light remain same because there is no change in medium. Light is incidenting in first medium and it is reflecting also in the same medium. So due to no change in medium, reflection phenomena, velocity, wavelength and frequency will remain constant, but intensity decreases. So whenever we consider about intensity, then some amount of light may be observed here in boundary. So we can say that intensity of reflected light decreases. Here there is a phase change of phi if reflection takes place along the normal. So if reflection takes place along the normal, then there is a phase change of phi. So let us see it by a diagram. Let us say this is the boundary. Here light is incidenting and it is bouncing back on the same medium. So here we can clearly see that phase change is of phi radian, and in this situation angle I and angle R becomes equal to 0 because light is traveling along the normal. After reflection, velocity, wavelength and frequency of light remain same, but intensity decreases. So we have seen it clearly. Now see, if light incident normally on a surface, after reflection it retraces the path. So we have seen it also that light is incidenting and it is bouncing back on the same medium. So in this case, angle I becomes equal to angle R and both are equal to 0. Now see real and virtual images. So what is the concept of real and virtual images here? So let us have a look on these ray diagrams. So here let us say our object is virtual. So if virtual object is there, then its image will be real. And if in second case also, if light ray after reflection or refraction actually meets at a point. So if we talk about real and virtual images, then after reflection or refraction, if light actually meets at a point, then it forms real images. And if it seems to meet at a point, then it will form imaginary or virtual image. So we can clearly see here it seems to meet at this point. So we can say that object is virtual. Here this is real image because it is actually meeting. Here again this is the virtual object, so its real image is being formed. So if actually meets, then real, and if seems to meet, then it is virtual. So these different cases are considered to explain you concept of real and virtual object or image. Now let us talk about plane mirror. So we are going to discuss reflection through a plane mirror. So see, the image formed by a plane mirror is virtual, erect and laterally inverted. Virtual, imaginary, erect, straight, laterally inverted. Laterally inverted means right part seems to be in left and left part seems to be in right. Like here, example of this letter capital R is taken. So its image will be inverted, laterally inverted, and equal in size. There will be no change in size of object. Size of image will be equal to size of object here, and at a distance equal to the distance of object in front of the mirror. So let us say here we have placed this object capital R at x distance from this mirror, then its image will also be formed at x distance behind the mirror. It will be laterally inverted, it will be of same size. Clear? So this is the general concept. So we have seen that here if object is real, then its image will be virtual and erect. Its distance from object, if distance from object is x, then distance from image will also be equal to x. Image will be laterally inverted. So these are some key concepts of image formation by plane mirror. Now let us talk about deviation. So if we talk about deviation, then deviation is simply, we can clearly see angular separation in emergent ray and reflected ray. Angular separation in emergent. So emergent means if this is the incident light, if there is no reflection, then it should travel like this path. So this dotted line represents emergent ray, and this is the reflected ray. So here angle between this emergent ray and this reflected ray is known as angle of deviation, or directly you can say deviation. So here if you calculate angle of deviation, then we know that I is equal to R. This complete angle is equal to 180. So in 180 subtract this angle 2i. So del is equal to 180 minus 2i. This is known as deviation in this case. Now see, in this case we are considering that light is incidenting at a certain angle, then it again incidents on another reflecting surface. Here two reflecting surfaces are at an angle theta. So this is the final reflection from the second surface. So in this case deviation is, this is the incident ray and this is the final reflected ray. So this angle represents deviation, and this angle is 360 minus 2 theta. So this angle is 360 minus 2 theta. So you can clearly see here that its original path is like this. This is the final path. So this is the deviation. Total angle is 360. This angle is 2 theta. So del becomes equal to 360 minus 2 theta. 360 minus 2 theta. So this is the simple explanation of deviation from plane mirror. Now let us see, if two plane mirrors are inclined to each other at 90 degree, the emergent ray is anti-parallel to incident ray if it suffers one reflection from each, whatever be the angle of incidence. So what we are considering, it is a simple concept. Let us say that two plane mirrors are inclined at an angle of 90 degree, means perpendicular to each other. Then we are considering that there should be one reflection from each mirror. In that case, incident ray on any one surface is anti-parallel to reflected ray from second surface. So we can clearly see here, this is the incident ray on any one surface and this is the reflected ray from second surface, and both are anti-parallel to each other. It means here phase difference is of 2 pi, phase difference of pi radian in both the rays. Now rotation. If a plane mirror is rotated in the plane of incidence through an angle theta, so if plane mirror is rotated by an angle theta, then we can clearly say that reflected ray turns out through an angle of 2 theta. So always keep in mind, if mirror is rotated by an angle theta, then its image will be, or reflected ray will be rotated by angle of 2 theta. Now images by two inclined plane mirrors. So two inclined plane mirrors are there. Let us say they are inclined at any certain angle theta. Then here are different possibilities of number of images formed by these surfaces. So let us say we are having here two cases. In first case, number of images can be calculated by 360 upon theta minus 1. Condition is 360 upon theta should be even number. 360 upon theta should be even number, then number of images will be 360 upon theta minus 1. Second one, 360 upon theta if odd integer is there. Then in this case, two possibilities are there. 360 upon theta, here 360 upon theta should be odd number, and 360 upon theta minus 1 if 360 upon theta is even integer. Now see, now it can be categorized into two different parts. Object is placed symmetrically. So if object is placed exactly between the two mirrors, then in this case number of images will be 360 upon theta minus 1. 360 upon theta minus 1. And if object is placed asymmetrically, then in that case number of images are 360 upon theta. Now see, if theta is equal to 0 degree, that means mirrors are parallel to each other. So if mirrors are parallel to each other, then there are infinite number of images possible. That is, infinite images will be formed in this situation. So keep in mind, if both the mirrors are parallel to each other, then possible number of images are infinite. If theta is equal to 90 degree, then here 360 upon 90, it is 4. 4 is even integer. So number of images are 360 upon theta minus 1 means 3 images will be formed. And if we consider theta is equal to 72 degree, then again 360 upon 72, it is n 360 upon 72, 5. So 5 minus 1, 4. So here, if nothing is said, object is supposed to be symmetrically placed. So if nothing is given us, then images will be 360 upon theta minus 1. Now see other important informations. So let us have some different concepts here. 1. When the object moves with speed u towards or from the plane mirror. So if we say that object is moving towards or away from the mirror with a particular velocity u, then image will also move by the same velocity towards or away. If object is moving towards the mirror, then image will also move towards the mirror, and if object is moving away from the mirror, then image will also move away from the mirror. And if we talk about relative velocity of image with respect to object, then in this case this will be u minus u means 2u. So this is the case. Mirror is at rest, object is moving with the velocity u towards the mirror, so image will also move towards the mirror. So here we are considering that velocity of image with respect to object, it is 2u. If we talk about velocity of image with respect to mirror, so mirror is at rest, so in that case it will be u. But if we say that object is at rest and mirror is moving, so in this case its speed will be 2u. So what we are considering when mirror moves towards the stationary object with speed u. So if mirror moves with a speed u, then image will also move with speed u. So here we are considering that its speed will be doubled, means it will be 2u. Then next concept is a man of height h requires a mirror of length at least equal to h by 2 to see his own complete image. So if a man wants to see his complete image in a mirror, then if height of that person or that man is h, then height of mirror required is h by 2. It means mirror should be at least of half of size of that height of the man or that person. So h by 2 to see the complete image. Now see, to see complete wall behind himself, a person requires a plane mirror of at least 1/3 the height. So let us say that I am standing in front of a mirror, and I want to see the complete image of the side behind me in the mirror. Then there should be at least h by 3, 1/3 of height of wall. So size of that mirror should be 1/3 of the wall. It should be noted that person is standing in the middle of room and position of that man should be at the middle of the room. So if a man is standing at the middle of a room and he wants to see the image of complete wall behind him in the mirror fixed in front of him, then to see the complete image, size of that mirror should be 1/3 of height of that wall. Now see, let us have a look on some concepts. The reflection from a denser medium causes an additional phase change of phi or path change of lambda by 2, while reflection from rarer medium doesn't cause any phase change. So if reflection happens in a denser medium, then it causes additional phase change of phi of pi radian. We observe number of images in a thick plane mirror, out of them only second is bright. So if here we talk about brightness of images through a thick plane mirror, then in this case only second image will be bright. So second image will be brightest. To find the location of an object from an inclined plane mirror, you have to see the perpendicular distance of the object from the mirror. So to find location of an object from an inclined mirror, then we have to see perpendicular distance of object from the mirror. So now let us have a look on some pattern of questions. A plane mirror makes an angle of 30 degree with horizontal. If a vertical ray strikes the mirror, find the angle between mirror and reflected ray. So what we are given, that we are given a plane mirror is making an angle of 30 degree with the horizontal like this. A vertical ray strikes the mirror, find the angle between mirror and reflected ray. So let us say this is the vertical ray which strikes the mirror and it reflects by a certain angle. So here we are considering that this is the normal. Let us draw a horizontal also here. So if this angle is of 30 degree, then this angle will also be of 30 degree. And if this angle is of 30 degree, then this angle will also be of 30 degree. So here this angle, they are opposite angles. So if this angle is of 30 degree, then this angle also becomes equal to 30 degree. So we can say if angle R is equal to 30 degree, then angle I is also equal to 30 degree. So we are given find the angle between mirror and reflected ray. So this is the reflected ray and this is the mirror. So we have to calculate this angle. So this complete angle is, you can clearly see this angle is 30 degree and this is the normal. So this remaining angle will be of 60 degree. So this can be calculated by simply drawing its ray diagram. Now next question. Two vertical plane mirrors are inclined at an angle of 60 degree with each other. A ray of light traveling horizontally is reflected first from one mirror and then from other. The resultant deviation is, so we have clearly seen previously, I have explained you a formula where if two mirrors are inclined at an any angle theta, then in that case del becomes equal to 360 minus 2 theta. 360 minus 2 theta. So here theta is given as 60 degree. So 360 minus 120. So its deviation will be 240 degree. Deviation will be 240 degree. So you can directly use the relation. Keep in mind, if two mirrors are separated by a particular angle, then deviation will be 360 minus 2 theta. Now see next question. A person in a room whose ceiling and two adjacent walls are mirrors. How many images are formed? So what we are given, that in a room, a ceiling and two adjacent walls are mirrors, then how many images are formed? So let us say we are considering here that two mirrors are inclined by an angle of 90 degree. They are mutually perpendicular. So the walls acts as two mirrors inclined to each other at 90 degree. So they will form 360 upon 90. 360 upon 90 is 4, which is even number. So number of images will be n minus 1, means 3 images of the person. 3 images will be formed. Now these images with object will act as objects for the ceiling mirror. So here we are considering that these two mirrors fixed at the two adjacent walls. So these adjacent walls will make 3 images of that person, and these 3 images will act as object for that mirror which is fixed at ceiling. So ceiling will form 4 images as shown. Therefore total number of images formed, so 3 plus 4, total number of images are 7. So total 7 images will be formed. So you can clearly see its concept here. In first case, these two adjacent walls which are making an angle of 90 degree, let us say this is the object. So its first image will be this I1, second image will be this I2, and third image will be this I3. 3 images by these walls and 4 images by ceiling. So 4 images will be formed by that ceiling of that person. So total number of images are 7. The person will see only 6 images of himself. So person will see only 6 images. O dash is that person itself. Similarly, in next question, a ray of light makes an angle of 10 degree with the horizontal above it and strikes a plane mirror which is inclined at an angle of theta to the horizontal. The angle theta for which the reflected ray becomes vertical. So here you can clearly see that this is the vertical ray, this is the incident ray which is making an angle of 10 degree with the horizontal. So if this is the normal to this surface, this is angle theta, this is angle theta, so theta plus 10 becomes equal to 90 degree. So we can clearly see 2 theta plus 10 degree is equal to 90 degree, or we can say it is 80, so theta is equal to 40 degree. Theta is equal to 40 degree, so option number A will be correct here. Now see next question. So next question is, a ray of light incident on first mirror parallel to second and is reflected from the second mirror parallel to first mirror. Angle between these two mirrors. So here what we are given, let us say that this is the incident ray on this first mirror. Let us say this is first and this is second. And we are given that this incident ray is parallel to second mirror. And then it reflects and it becomes parallel to first mirror. This is the situation given to us. So we have to calculate angle between two mirrors. So let us say angle between these two mirrors is theta. Angle between these two mirrors is theta. So here this light ray is incidenting. So if this is angle theta, then this angle will also be equal to theta. Clear? So this is the angle theta. So let us say this is a normal. So if this angle is theta, then this is 90 minus theta, this is 90 minus theta. So this angle again becomes equal to theta. And if this angle is theta, then we can clearly see that here again it is making an angle. This light ray is parallel to this mirror. So it is also an angle theta. So this angle and this angle both are angle of glance. So these angles are also equal. So what we can clearly see that here sum of these three angles of a triangle becomes equal to 180 degree. So 3 theta is equal to 180. So theta becomes equal to 60 degree. So option number B will be correct. Now next, a point object is placed midway between two plane mirrors, distance A apart. The plane mirrors forms an infinite number of images due to multiple reflection. The distance between nth order image formed in the two mirrors. So this is the situation given to us that these two plane mirrors are placed like this. An infinite number of images are formed. This object is placed in such a way that it is at midpoint of both the mirrors. So here separation between these mirrors is A, then from one mirror its distance is A by 2. Now see, if we talk about its image formation, then for this first mirror, for M mirror, this is a real object, so its image will be I1 virtual. Then this I1 is at distance A by 2 plus A by 2, means at distance A from its midpoint, and from this second mirror its distance is A plus A by 2, means 3A by 2. So its image will again be formed at distance 3A by 2. So here it is 3A by 2 and so on. Then next image of this will be formed for this mirror M, and it will be at 3A by 2 and A by 2. So 3A by 2 plus A, so 5A by 2. so its image will be at distance 5a by 2 again, and so on. So here what we are considering, that total number of images will be, so they are equal to, distance is 2 and a, distance is 2 and a. So from figure it can be proved that separation between nth order image formed in two mirrors will be 2 and a. So now these are some pattern of questions which can be calculated. So you can practice these questions on your own. So just pause this video and note down these questions, and you can practice on your own. Similarly, this next question also, note it down it also. This is a plane mirror and a person are moving towards each other with same velocity v. Then the velocity of image. So in this situation, what we are considering, that mirror would be at rest, then velocity of image should be 2v. But mirror is also moving, so its image, velocity of image will be 2v plus v, means 3v. So it is 3v. In next question, you have to calculate deviation. So it can be calculated by using the relation which we have discussed earlier. So this is the reflection from plane mirrors. Now let us talk about reflection from spherical mirrors or curved mirrors. Reflection from spherical mirrors. So it is a part of transparent hollow sphere whose one surface is polished. So any curved mirror or spherical mirror can be formed from a hollow sphere in which one surface is polished and another surface acts as a reflecting surface. So here we are considering about two different type of mirrors. In this situation, we can clearly see that its center lies in front of him, and here its center is behind him, behind the reflecting surface. So the straight line passing through its center acts as a principal axis. Again, in both the cases, so such type of mirrors, this first type of mirror is known as concave mirror. It is also known as converging type mirror. This second type of mirror, in which center of curvature is behind the reflecting surface, is simply known as diverging type of mirror, or you can say convex mirror. Now let us talk about some definitions. So pole. So pole is simply midpoint of the mirror. Pole is defined as midpoint of the mirror. Center of curvature is the center of sphere of which mirror is formed or mirror is a part. Radius of curvature, so radius of curvature can be defined as distance between pole and center of curvature, or you can say it is the center of sphere by which spherical mirror is formed. Principal axis, the principal axis is a straight line joining pole and center of curvature of a mirror. Focus, so focus is an image point on principal axis for which object is at infinity. So focus is a point situated on principal axis at which image distance is infinity. Focal length is distance between focus and pole. Relation between f and r. So keep in mind always radius of curvature is twice of focal length. Radius of curvature is twice of focal length, either it is lens or mirror. For plane surface, if we talk about focal length of a plane surface, then there is no curvature in plane surface, so its focal length will be infinite, or you can say radius of curvature of plane surface is infinite. Power. So power is the capacity of bending the light. Capacity of bending the light. If we talk about bending in different way, then we can say that capacity of diverging or converging of light. So the converging or diverging ability of mirror is its power. Aperture. So aperture is the effective diameter of reflecting area. Effective diameter of mirror you can say, or you can say effective diameter of light reflecting area. Intensity of image is directly proportional to area. Keep in mind, intensity depends on area of diameter and inversely and directly proportional to aperture square. Focal plane. So focal plane is an imaginary plane which passes through the focus and perpendicular to the principal axis. So this is the simple form of some pattern of definitions here. Rules of image formation and sign convention. So let us have a look. In first rule, you can clearly see that if a light becomes parallel to principal axis, then it passes through a focus of mirror. So it actually passes in case of concave mirror, and it seems to pass through a through focus of convex mirror. Then second rule is if a light ray passes through focus of a concave mirror, then it becomes parallel to principal axis after the reflection. So you can clearly see from this diagram. And in case of convex mirror, if we say that if a light travels towards the focus, then it becomes parallel to principal axis after the reflection. So it seems to travel towards the focus. Now in third case, if a light ray travels from center of curvature of a concave mirror, then it bounces back on the same path, or you can say it retraces the same path. While in case of convex mirror, we can clearly see that if a light seems to travel towards the center of curvature, then it seems to retrace the same path after the reflection. So these three rules are used to explain image formation for convex and concave mirrors. Now sign convention. So let us talk about sign convention. So whenever we talk about sign convention for mirrors, then we use Cartesian sign convention. Cartesian sign convention. It means, let us say this is the x-axis. Here this is the x-axis. Clear? This is the y-axis. So in Cartesian coordinate system, what we consider that this point is origin at 0, 0. In this direction it is plus x-axis. In this direction it is minus x-axis. This is plus y-axis and this is minus y-axis. This is the general concept of Cartesian coordinate system. So in case of mirror, what we consider, let us say that this origin behave as pole of a mirror. If I place a mirror here in such a way that this is the pole of mirror, this is the general concept. So as we see that all the distances are measured from origin of a coordinate system, then simply here P pole is there. So we can say that all the distances are measured from pole of a mirror. So distances will be measured from pole. Object is always considered to be placed in left hand side of mirror. So if object is in left hand side, let us say this is the object, then light will travel towards the mirror. So this is the direction of incident ray. This is the direction of incident ray. So all the distances in the direction of incident ray are taken as positive because they are moving towards the plus x-axis. And all the distances measured in opposite direction of incident ray are taken as negative. Similarly, all the heights. So we have seen that x-axis behave as principal axis. So all the heights above the principal axis are taken as positive because they approach to plus y-axis, and all the heights below the principal axis are taken as negative. So this is the simple sign convention for mirrors. And this sign convention is also valid for lenses also. Now let us have a brief idea of sign convention for concave and convex mirror separately. So here we can see the distance of object. So distance of object is denoted by U, distance of image is denoted by V, focal length is denoted by F, height of object is, let us say, denoted by H, O or O, height of image is I, radius of curvature capital R, and magnification is small m. So in case of concave mirror, all the images are real. If object is placed between focus and infinity. It means U should be greater than or equal to F. Means object should be placed anywhere between infinity and focus. In that case, real images will be formed. And if object is placed between pole and focus, then images will be virtual. So less than F means object is placed between pole and focus. So see, in this case, U, object is always placed in left hand side of mirror. So we have to travel from pole to object in left hand side, or you can say in opposite direction of incident light ray. So U is always negative. Either it is concave, convex mirror, or either it is lens, whatever instrument we are using. So U is always negative. In case of real image, image is formed towards the object. And below the principal axis. So it V will be always negative, while virtual images are formed behind the mirror, so they are positive. Virtual images are always positive. In convex mirror, only virtual images are formed. So keep in mind, convex mirror forms only virtual images. Now see, if we talk about focal length, so we can clearly see that this is the concave mirror and this is the convex mirror. So here focus of this concave mirror is in left hand side. It means if we travel in this direction, then all the distances are taken as negative. It means focal length is negative. Height of image, real images are always formed below the principal axis, so they are negative. Object is always placed above the principal axis, so its height is positive. Radius of curvature, if focus is negative, then radius of curvature is also negative. For real images, magnification is always negative. Similarly, in virtual images, if concave mirror is there, then F and R both are negative. In case of concave mirror, F and R both are negative and rest all are positive. Height of object, height of image and magnification. So keep in mind here, important thing is this magnification. If virtual images are formed, either it is lens or mirror, either it is concave or convex. If virtual images are formed, then magnification is always positive. So you can clearly see magnification is always positive, either it is concave mirror or convex mirror or a lens where images are virtual. And in case of real images, magnification is always negative. So this is the general concept of magnification. Now position, sign and nature of image formed by the spherical mirror. So let us have a look. So always keep in mind, I am considering here concave mirror, and initially we are considering that our object is placed at infinity. If our object is placed at infinity, then its image will always be formed at focus. Its image will be formed at focus. So if object is at infinity, then image will be at focus. And size of object, size of image will be much smaller than object. It means it is always diminished. Diminished, or you can say pointed image will be formed. Nature will be always real and inverted. Nature will always be real and inverted. So you can clearly see, if object is placed at infinity, then its image will be formed at focus. It will be pointed and its nature will be real and inverted. So always keep in mind position, nature and size. Three things you have to keep in mind. Now we are moving our object from infinity towards the mirror. So let us say we are having 4 fixed points: infinity, center of curvature, focus and pole. So we are having 4 different positions and we move that object from one position to another one by one. So let us say now we have moved that object from infinity to between infinity and center of curvature. So our image will also move. As object move towards the concave mirror, then image will move away from the concave mirror and its size keep on increasing. So let us see in second case, away from the center of curvature. Away from center of curvature, it means object is placed anywhere between infinity and center of curvature. So image will move between center of curvature and focus. So its image will be between center of curvature and focus. Now its size is smaller than object. Now not too much smaller, but still smaller than object, and its nature will be real and inverted. Now next position is center of curvature. So if our object is placed at center of curvature, then image will also move at center of curvature. It means in this condition, if object is placed at center of curvature, then image will also be at the center of curvature, and in this case size of image becomes equal to size of object. It means magnification becomes equal to 1 and nature of image is real and inverted. So this is the general concept of image formation again. Now move the object and place the object between center of curvature and focus. So in this case, if object is placed between center of curvature and focus, then image will be between center of curvature and infinity. So in this case, it is between center of curvature and focus, then image is away from center of curvature. It means it is between infinity and center of curvature, and now it's enlarged. Now image is being enlarged. Its size increases. Nature still is real and inverted. Then now we have placed our object at focus. So if object is at focus, then image will be at infinity. It means in this case, size of image will be much larger than object and its magnification will be much greater than 1. Nature still is real and inverted. So if it is at focus, then image is formed at infinity. Magnification also becomes at infinity and its size is much greater than object. You can say nature is real and inverted. Now one case is there when virtual image is also formed by this concave mirror, and this case is when our object is placed between pole and focus. So if our object is placed between pole and focus, in this case image will be behind the mirror. Image will be behind the mirror, its magnification. Keep in mind, in case of concave mirror, virtual image is always magnified. It means it is larger than object. So it is magnified, nature is virtual and erect. So this is the simple concept of image formation by concave mirror. Now let us have a look on image formation by convex mirror. So as I told you earlier, that in case of convex mirror only virtual images are formed, and virtual images formed by convex mirror are always diminished in nature. It means they are always much smaller than object. So let us have a look. Consider any point. We can consider that, let us say object is placed anywhere between infinity and pole. So if object is placed anywhere between infinity and pole, then its image will always be between pole and focus. Between pole and focus, it will be diminished image and nature will be virtual and erect. So this is the simple concept of image formation by spherical mirrors. Now see, in case of convex mirrors, as the object move away from the mirror, the image becomes smaller and moves closer to the focus. So as I told you earlier, in case of convex mirror, images are always virtual and erect and they are much smaller than object, means they are diminished. And if object moves towards the mirror, the image will also be, image keep on becoming smaller and moves closer to the focus. Images formed by mirrors do not show chromatic aberration. So there is no concept of chromatic aberration. It means whatever light of color is there, its image will be formed at a certain place. There will be no chromatic aberration. Chromatic aberration is simply observed in case of lenses. For convex mirror, maximum image distance is its focal length. So maximum image distance is its focal length. In concave mirror, minimum distance between a real object and real image is 0. Minimum distance between a real object and real image is 0. So you can clearly say that if object is placed at center of curvature, then its image is also at center of curvature. So here separation between position of real object and real image is always equal to 0. So this is the general concept of mirror for image formation by spherical mirrors. Now let us see mirror formula and magnification. So mirror formula and magnification. Mirror formula is a relation between position of object, position of image and focal length of any spherical mirror, and it is given as 1 upon V minus 1 upon U is equal to 1 upon F. So you can see its derivation in your notes. This is the relation between U, V and F. So it is, it is U. So this is the relation for mirror formula. This relation is known as mirror formula. If we talk about magnification, then magnification shows us that what is the size of image with respect to object. How enlarged is the image with respect to object. So that is known as magnification. So here magnification is represented by small m. You can also call it as linear magnification. So as I explained you that magnification simply size of object with respect to size of image. Size of object, no, this formula is wrong. Magnification is size of image. We compare size of image with respect to size of object. So it is size of image with respect to size of object. We compare height of image or size of image with respect to object. Clear? So this is the general concept. Let us have a look on type of magnification. So generally we can say that there are two types of magnification. One is linear and another one is aerial. Aerial means magnification in area and linear means change in length, either it is horizontal or vertical. So let us have a look. In case of linear magnification, as I told you, that it may be along the axis and perpendicular to axis. It means it is transverse and longitudinal. Transverse and longitudinal. So when an object is placed perpendicular to the principal axis, so if object is placed perpendicular to the principal axis, then it is transverse magnification, and if an object is placed along the principal axis, then it is known as longitudinal magnification. So when an object is placed perpendicular to the principal axis, then linear magnification is called as lateral or transverse magnification. It is given as I upon O, or you can say minus V upon U. Minus V upon U. And when an object lies along the principal axis, then it's known as longitudinal magnification. It is again given as, you can see, minus del V upon del U. You can say it. Minus del V upon del U. If object is small, so you can see it is minus dV upon du, or you can say minus V upon U whole square, because their change is smaller. Now see, always use sign convention while solving the problems. So while solving the questions based on magnification or mirror formula, we have to simply use the sign convention, otherwise our answer will be different from the actual one. So image, now see, if you have to calculate length of image, then length of image can be calculated as length of object multiplied by V upon U whole square, or you can say dV upon du, or you can clearly find out relation in U and F also. Let us talk about aerial magnification. So aerial magnification is area of image with respect to area of object. So area of image with respect to area of object. Let us say here, change in length, change in dimensions of this rectangular slab here. Let us say initially its length and breadth are A and B. So after magnification, its length is MA and breadth is MB. So here we can say area is MA into MB upon A into B. A into B is area of object. So now it becomes equal to M square. So here M is linear magnification. So we can say that aerial magnification is equal to M square, or we can say it is AI upon AO, means area of image with respect to area of object. So this is the general concept of magnification. Now don't put the sign of quantity which is to be determined. So always keep in mind, let us say we have to find position of image, so don't use sign convention, don't predetermine that sign convention. You have to calculate that what is the sign of V is acquired by the calculation. So don't put it sign before calculation. If a spherical mirror produces an image M times the size of object, then U, V and F are given as follows. So here M is magnification, so U is equal to M minus 1 upon M into F. V is equal to minus M minus 1 into F, and F is equal to M upon M minus 1 into U. You have to use sign convention. These are general relations. So you no need to memorize. If you remember these relations, then good. Otherwise, not an issue. If we talk about usage of mirrors, then concave mirrors are generally used in barber shops as shaving mirrors, in searchlights, in cinema projectors, in telescopes, by ENT specialists, etc. So why we use these mirrors in these sectors? Because concave mirror is of converging nature. Concave mirror is of converging nature, so it can be used in searchlights, it can be used in projector light, it can be used by ENT surgeons or ENT specialists to observe the ear, nose, throat of a patient. Convex mirrors are diverging in nature. So we can see such type of mirrors in street light lamps, in road lamps, or in rear view mirrors of vehicles. Field of view of convex mirror is more than that of concave mirror. Yeah, it is very clear. Field of view is more in case of convex than concave, because it is of diverging nature. It is of diverging nature. That's why its field of view will be greater. Now let us talk about graphs, some important graphs. So these graphs are also asked directly in your competitive exam. Let us see. Here first type of graph is for concave mirror, and it is between 1 upon V and 1 upon U. So we can clearly see that 1 upon V plus 1 upon U is equal to 1 upon F. So here this graph is a decreasing graph, or we can say that here 1 upon V is Y, 1 upon U is X. So we can say that this graph is equal to Y is equal to minus X plus C. So this is a straight line but is of decreasing nature. So C is here, intercept on Y axis is equal to 1 upon F. Now this is for real image, this is for virtual image. In case of virtual image, this graph is a straight line again, but with virtual value of 1 upon V. Virtual value of 1 upon V, it will start from here. In case of convex mirror, it will start from 1 upon U axis in negative, from in minus X axis. Now see next, if you have to plot graph between U and V. So in case of U and V, it will be high parabola. Here again, it will be increasing from a height, from a magnification of 1 here, and here it will be decreasing for convex mirror. Now these some concepts are given to us. So these are simple concepts. Let's have a look on some pattern of questions here. A convex mirror of focal length f forms an image which is 1 upon n times the object. So the distance of object from the mirror. So what we are given, convex mirror is given to us, focal length is f, and image is 1 upon n times the object. Image is 1 upon n times the object. It means magnification is given to us. So m is equal to minus v upon u. M is minus v upon u, and it is 1 upon n. Magnification is 1 upon n. So you have to calculate distance of object, means we have to calculate u. So v now becomes equal to minus u upon n. V is equal to minus u upon n. You can use your mirror formula. In mirror formula, we know that 1 upon v plus 1 upon u is equal to 1 upon f. In case of convex mirror, focal length is positive. Replace here this value. So it is 1 upon v. So 1 upon v is equal to minus n upon u plus 1 upon u is equal to 1 upon f. If we take u as common, then it is minus n plus 1 into f is equal to u. So minus n plus 1 upon f into u. So it is sign convention. We also have to use here sign convention. So here v, in case of convex mirror, v is positive and u is negative. So it is minus. If we take u here, so place here, this is so plus minus. So u is now equal to n minus 1 into f. No. Our relation is correct. It is plus, this is negative. So it will be n minus 1 into f. So option number A is correct. You can calculate by using this relation. Next, an object 5 centimeter tall is placed 1 meter from a concave spherical mirror which has a radius of curvature. So we are given size of object, distance of object, radius of curvature. So you can calculate focal length, and you have to calculate size of image. Size of image, you have to calculate height of image or size of image. So simply you can calculate by using the concept of, first of all, calculate value of v with the using of mirror formula. Then magnification is m is equal to v upon u. M is equal to, magnification is minus v upon u, and it is equal to height of image with respect to height of object. So if you calculate V, you are given U, you are given HO, then you can simply calculate height of image by using this relation. Now see next question. An object of length 2.5 centimeter is placed at a distance of 1.5 f. F is focal length from a concave mirror, where f is the focal magnitude of focal length of mirror. The length of object is perpendicular to the principal axis. The length of image is, so again simply you have to use the mirror formula and calculate this relation. A convex mirror has a focal length f. A real object is placed at a distance f in front of it from the pole, produces an image at. So you can simply calculate again by using mirror formula. So by pausing the video, note down these questions and practice on your own. Directly formula based questions are there. A convex mirror of focal length 10 centimeter is placed in water. The refractive index of water is 4/3. What will be the focal length of mirror? So always keep in mind, focal length of mirrors are independent of change in medium. Focal length of mirrors are independent of change in medium. It means they do not depend on refractive index of any medium. So there is no change in focal length of convex mirror. It is 10 centimeter, means it will be 10 centimeter. Next is a candle flame 3 centimeter is placed at a distance of 3 meter from a wall. How far from wall must a concave mirror be placed in order that it may form an image of flame 9 centimeter high on the wall? It means you are given in this question height of object. Here object is flame, so its height is 3 centimeter. You are given height of image which is 9 centimeter. So by using the relation m is equal to hi upon ho, and which is equal to minus v upon u, you can establish a relation between v and u. Then you are given that distance of that flame from the wall is 3 meter. So let us say here is the object and this is the wall which is at 3 meter. Let us say total distance of wall is x. So distance of object is x minus 3. Now simply use the relation of mirror formula and calculate this value. Or you can directly use this relation. Next question is, a concave mirror of focal length 100 centimeter is used to obtain the image of sun, which subtends an angle of 30 minutes. The diameter of image of sun will be, so again let us say this is the incidence of light. This is the incidence of light at the pole and it is making an angle of theta. It is making an angle of theta. What we are given that it is making an angle of theta of 30 arc minute. So you can calculate it in degrees. So divide it by 60. So we'll get 1/2 degree. Angle will be 1/2 degree and you can convert it into radian. So diameter of sun. So this is the diameter of sun. So you can calculate, let us say that this becomes a right angle triangle here. So tan theta is equal to perpendicular upon base. So perpendicular is d, base is f, theta is small. So if theta is small, then we can say that tan theta is almost becomes equal to theta. So we can say that d is equal to f theta. D is equal to f theta. So you can directly calculate, focal length is given to you, theta is given to you, convert it into radian and your answer will be there. Similarly, this is the question. A concave mirror is placed on a horizontal table as shown here. So you can calculate, note it down. This is directly theoretical based question. You have to show that what is the position and what is the nature of image formed. So you can calculate it on your own. So that's it from today. Students, today we have covered the topic of reflection. In next lecture, we will talk about refraction of light. So this is pretty simple topic and pattern of questions are also pretty simple. Important concepts have been discussed in today's lecture. So just go through them, revise those topics and just practice the questions. So thank you students for watching the video. We will meet in next video with our next topic, which is refraction. Thank you.